As discussed in an earlier part of this set of podcasts, ontology and metaphysics will always have the pragmatic usefulness of keeping intelligent minds, ambitious for power, busy in an academic arena generating verbiage where they will hopefully be able to do little harm. However, since I am, therefore I think and want power is one of the few certainties of being in life, ontology is still a sound and valid contemplation for workers and a source of thought for workers, for understanding life and for generating a metaphysics. We can still think ontologically. By thinking ontologically, we will generate a metaphysics. Remember, saying there is no metaphysical truth is a metaphysical statement. Thinking ontologically requires understanding the dualistic nature of language as discussed in the Philosophy of Language podcast, plus keeping this dualistic nature in mind during ontological contemplations, and then an understanding of how it will lead to contradiction and ambiguity that must and that can only be cleared up by the use of analytical tools of empathy, analogy, and logical creativity. An example of such ontological thought at work consists of my theology podcast series, Asking Why God Hates the Poor. A simpler example is the ontological proof for the existence of God, also covered in other podcasts on the Sam Pebbles podcast series. God is the reason there is something instead of nothing. As long as I exist, there is something, and therefore the reason for there being something instead of nothing must exist. It is not an objection to this ontological logic that the attribute of existence is not a being, but simply an attribute. No, the word existence applied to my existence is not just a word or attribute whose meaning is its usefulness. It is real being, about the only real being or existence of which I can be certain, except for the existence that is the reason for my existence. The words I and God are the only words whose meaning are existence, from which I can derive the existential words I think and I want power. Going beyond these existential words gets into words whose meaning are their usefulness, and we thus start the problematic contemplation that is modern ontology and its now servant, modern metaphysics.